Hello, my dear friends on Facebook here. We're going to have a wonderful interview with my dear friend, Dr. Marlene Shiple. She is a psychologist in Arizona, and somebody asked me if she was available for telehealth. Yes, she is. And I will put all of her contact information in after we're done. Dr. Shiple is a PhD psychologist. She also is a life coach. She does a lot of wonderful work with people trying to help them get their life on track. It's a very inspiring kind of thing. She's also a hypnotherapist, and I am I've known her for gosh 8 to 10 years now. We've worked together. We usually have weekly or monthly calls so we can keep each other on track. So she is wonderful. So let's just invite Dr. Shiple to join us now. Good day, my dear friend. How are you?
I am doing great and I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah, and what's the temperature in Phoenix?
Well, we're on the way to 86 today.
Oh Lord, when I got up this morning here in Denver, it was 30 degrees. And actually,
Whoa.
that is a little bit on the warm side for Denver this time of the year. But anyway, it's a beautiful day here. And I am so glad that you're here with us because mental health and emotional health is so important. And I know you've done a lot of work over many years with many people. So, could you just give us a little uh, bio of how you got started in psychology?
Yes. Um, I got started in psychology kind of circuitously. So I love teaching and figured, and I love children. So I thought it would make a whole lot of sense for me to go into elementary education.
Ah,
3 semesters into elementary education, I realized it just wasn't gelling for me. So I said, okay, what do I love? What else do I love? And the answer came right away, chemistry. So I switched my major to chemistry, and that meant taking chemistry classes, taking German because you need to be able to read the literature in the, the original, yeah, exactly, the original language, taking calculus, taking a couple of philosophy classes, and in the middle of a Friday, which was my chemistry lab and classes all day, I had this major awareness, but you don't want to live your life with test tubes. And I said, ah, that's right. So I said, what else do I love? And I went, I have no clue what to do. So I finished the semester because I didn't want to lose the credits I'd already amassed. And at that time, moved out to Arizona, met a friend. She said, you know what I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to take a year's leave of absence from my job and travel around the United States.
mm,
And I said to her, why haven't you done it? And she said, oh, that's one of those things that you want to do, but you never really get to. So 2 weeks later, we left. I said, where do you want to go? And she said the places she wanted to go. So we went to those places. We worked for Kelly Services or Manpower. So we had ongoing revenue. And we ended up 6 months in Hawaii.
oh, wow.
Mhm. So really fun. And part of that whole time, it was working on my mind. I wasn't consciously thinking about it, but it was working on my mind. And suddenly one day in Hawaii, I said, oh, I want to work with people. And that automatically to me meant psychology. When I came back to Phoenix, I enrolled in school again. So I'd already had 2 years. I enrolled in school, had not had a psych course at that point, got all my psychology finished in 2 years, and have been on a roll with it since.
That's amazing. One of the things that always has amazed me about you is that you're continuing to study all the time.
Oh,
You're
yes.
renewing certifications and things like that, but
Mhm.
you're always so interested in how to really help people.
Yes.
So, you know, I know one of the things you do is that you're a life coach, and I think everybody needs a coach, a mentor, or somebody to kind of keep you on track, don't you think?
Exactly, and accountable.
Right,
So that
accountable.
whatever direction you're choosing to go, you've got support going along. And one of the things I find that I add to that is I believe that my clients can do it. So whatever it is they set out that their goal is, I believe, and I hold that idea for them while they're learning it too, that they can do this and they can be successful with it and they can have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Yeah, I know if I ever get discouraged on some of our calls, you're always knocking on my door of optimism and say, Wanda, you can do this. Stay
Mhm.
focused. Keep your mind clear. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, um, what do you have a philosophy or an approach to helping people really evaluate their life and then begin to make changes in not only their personal life or in their work?
I think what I do really, really well is I listen.
Yeah.
And so I ask my clients, what do you want? What's important to you? If you could have anything in your life to feel satisfied, to feel content, what would that be? And because I'm listening, they tell me. Okay. And then we start working on what has held you back from that? What is it that leads you to not be there already? Similar to what I said to my friend, why haven't you done it?
Yeah.
Okay. And since I'm a hypnotist, I work with the subconscious mind, and for those listening, that matters amazingly. The subconscious mind is the part of the mind that creates self-fulfilling prophecy. It creates. Its purpose for us is to create. Okay, that's number one. Number two, it has memory of things that have happened to us. So those are two functions of the subconscious mind. But that major one of it creating matters a lot because your subconscious mind doesn't care what it creates. It listens to what you're saying and creates whatever you told it.
Yeah.
So if you're telling it in line with what you want to experience, that's great. But if you're telling it, I can't do that. If you're telling it, I always mess up, I never get good results, your subconscious mind's going to be creating that. And therefore, on a continuing basis, you're actually activating what you don't want to experience. So I help people to really see that and see where they're not giving themselves clear direction. We clear that up and then create a plan for, so if this is what you want, having them start to make that happen.
Yeah, hypnosis is really amazing. I think some people may be afraid of it. Oh my goodness, she's going to take charge of my mind. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what hypnosis really is and how it works so well?
Yes. So hypnosis is a state of mind. It's a mental state where you're physically relaxed with your mind alert and aware. So you're usually sitting, maybe lying to be comfortable, eyes closed in a relaxed state. And then the person can hear what I'm saying. Um, what I'm saying, though, has to do with messages to their subconscious mind that are aligned with what they want to create. So they've told me what they want in their lives. So that's what we're working on. So anything that I'm talking to them about are the very goals that they've said they want to create. And so I see myself as a guide, but there's a saying, all hypnosis is self hypnosis. So the person who is guiding them in hypnosis is actually themselves. I'm giving them direction, but they're doing it themselves. So it's not me taking charge of them at all. It's rather them taking better charge of themselves when often they haven't been taking charge of themselves at all. So we work with that subconscious mind, with that deep part of their mind, and how it creates positive outcomes for them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, uh, why would somebody call you for whatever? What are some of the common things that people call you for?
For hypnosis, chronic pain, stopping smoking,
Mm.
weight management, pulling out their eyebrows, pulling out their eyelashes,
Ooh.
having nervous habits that they haven't been able to get on top of yet.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so those kinds of things. I find though that I can also, if many times people come to me and they say, I I don't feel good. I it's not a physical thing, it's an emotional thing, and I'm not sure why.
Okay.
And hypnosis is amazing at being able to help them go inside, which is where the source of our wisdom is, and really get in touch with here's what's happening. Here's what's causing you that anxiety or that distress. And the beauty of hypnosis is after that gets clear, I can say to them, okay, now ask what to do about it.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me what we should do. And it's the very best solution for them because it's their own solution. So it helps us get in touch with that information and then very specific, very, very unique to them, then we can use it.
Oh, that is so interesting. And they were actually hearing themselves say it. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yes.
do you
And yes, and I want them to hear it.
yeah.
So your eyes are closed, your mind's alert and aware. I want them to keep their mind alert and aware because I want that conscious mind knowing afterwards what happened.
Mm-hmm.
However, in case it doesn't, because if they get really, really relaxed, it's possible that they kind of drift. So after the hypnosis, I repeat to them the important things that came out of the session. I want that sharp in their conscious mind. I want their conscious and their subconscious working together to create the changes that
Mm-hmm.
are up for them in their lives.
Yeah. Do you record this for them?
Normally not, no. I have no problem with them recording it, but I normally don't. But see, since they're aware, they remember the things that we've said.
Yeah. And you do that in your office and also remotely. Is that correct?
I can do it in my office. I mean, I definitely do it in my office. I can do it remotely, but we need a little bit more preparation for that because I'm not right there with them in the room. Okay, I can pick up a lot of cues like with video conference and everything, but I want them to feel really secure and really safe because the truth is they can bring themselves out of hypnosis very easily. We practice that.
Okay.
Okay, so if in fact I were to get really, really quiet and not be able to bring them out, they'd recognize, boy, she's been quiet for quite a while. They'd either open their eyes or just count themselves up to 5 and wake up.
Okay.
Okay, and because they're in a relaxed state with their mind alert and aware. It is not a weird, bizarre state of any kind.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay,
this is very safe.
absolutely.
You know, people get
Yes,
oh,
the hypnotic state is one that we go in and out of all the time, each day. Have
yeah.
you ever been driving along and you maybe even passed up your exit on the freeway, but you just weren't particularly paying attention to what was going on, and suddenly you come back and realize, oh, where am I? Okay, actually, that's an experience of spontaneous hypnosis. You lose track of where you are directly in the situation, and
Yeah.
your mind's off daydreaming. Okay, what we do in hypnosis is we create the experience of the daydream, and it's in line with what the person wants to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, that is so interesting, and I think it's such a valuable tool to help people get in touch with things that they're not consciously aware of. So just a wonderful tool. And you do more things than that. Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing right now in the kind of issues people are having during this pandemic. You know, have
Mhm,
people had more problems mentally and emotionally, or I think we talked about this before. You
mhm.
give us some insights about what your awareness is of what people have experienced during this time of lockdown and not being able to, do go out and be with other people.
Well, it seems to me that this has been a really unique opportunity for us. People prior to the pandemic, they were running and doing and out there and interacting and rushing. What the pandemic has done is force them to come inside of their home, giving them the opportunity to come inside of themselves. And so consequently, and that's what I do in terms of working with clients, is I look at the opportunities that this has presented. It's given people a chance that have issues that they didn't even recognize in their lives. Those issues have sometimes surfaced, gives them a chance to really look at them, to see what's going on, to create some new tools, and then to be able to let it go. So it's not continuing to impact their lives in any kind of negative way. So just stopping, taking time is one of the benefits I see. Second benefit I see is it allowed people to focus on themselves. So while they were in isolation, while they were not going out and being around other people, their attention could naturally gravitate to themselves, and they could start noticing, what do they need? What is it that they need to provide for themselves? How do they give themselves self-care? With my clients, that includes physical. Okay, we're bringing in the good work that you do as well, and so that they're seeing how the body and the mind work together just like that. You can see no space there. And because being healthy in their body lets them exercise, lets them breathe so that they can relax, and so that their mind and emotions are in harmony.
Yeah, that's part of the whole functional medicine foundation lifestyle.
Mhm.
And, the amount of stress in your life, the good, healthy relationships you have, the
Yes.
ability to move and exercise, sleep well, eat right. Uh, but it's just the whole lifestyle platform. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I think that is wonderful. And another thing we talked about a few weeks ago is and of course, when you think of Arizona, in Phoenix, you think about tons of people who are retiring there because
Yes.
the weather is milder, although a little bit hot for me.
Mhm.
And so what kind of things are you seeing people struggle with as they either go into retirement or are already retired? Can
Mhm.
you speak about that for a bit?
Yes. I think the biggest one for a lot of people is that they are changing their identity.
Hmm.
They have identified so closely with the job that they had, the profession that they had. And so a good part of their whole self-image, their self-help, their whole self-awareness has been centered around the job. Now they're leaving that behind. And so when I work with people on retirement coaching, we work with, okay, what really is the essence of the person that you are? What is going to allow you to have meaning and purpose in your life once you put that chapter away and welcome the new chapter? So consequently, it's to really have them identify the core things about themselves, because each of us has a unique contribution. And that unique contribution is having in retirement more time, more energy to express. So by them identifying what that is and then looking at outlets that allow them to express that, actually, bless you, to actually create a brand new identity. And that brand new identity, uh, we want to be one that uniquely expresses the person that they are. So in terms of that, actually seeing the opportunities that retirement opens up, okay? And then also for some people, they've created major fears about retirement. We work with how those fears program the subconscious mind and how they're actually now creating those very outcomes that they were worried about or feared, and that they don't have to do that. That's the important thing, okay? That they can do it differently without all of the fear. For a lot of people, they have concerns about their finances, and they are afraid they haven't put enough aside, or they're afraid that the uncertainties of the economy are going to create problems for them. We work with again, self-fulfilling prophecy, you can create that, but it doesn't serve you. So what else can you create? What ideas can you encompass that create abundance in your life?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with the ability to use our creative imagination. You
Exactly.
know, uh,
Exactly.
yeah, and the opportunity to do things that you've always wished you could do. That's
Exactly.
always amazing me. I'm
Yeah.
not ready to retire, and I know you're not either,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
your life is so full, so wonderful. So,
That's it.
we want to continue
Hmm.
in the trajectory of, like you said, of who we really are at the depth of our being.
Yeah.
Why always answering that question, why am I really here?
Yes.
And have I fulfilled my purpose?
Yes.
No. I still have a lot of purposefulness in my life. And whether I'm 65 or 85,
Mhm.
I'm still going to have that inner uh, urge to create. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And another big area that retirement brings opportunity is relationship.
Yeah.
So if in fact the person hasn't dedicated the kind of energy that allows their relationship to thrive, they get the opportunity to decide on shared goals and how they want that relationship to support them and be enhanced.
Hmm. And retirement doesn't mean you just stop doing everything. It's just a different way of perspective because, you still continue in a way in the work you've been doing, especially if you've had a very fulfilling professional life. You're just
Exactly.
going to do it in a different way. Okay.
Mhm.
Volunteering. I know that vo- you have a big capacity with the Red Cross, and
Yes.
a lot of people are going out all over the country volunteering when there's crises,
Right.
whether they're natural disasters, fires, hurricanes, whatever.
Right.
And so that is people still full of life.
Exactly. No,
Uh,
exactly. And it's a mistake when people don't create purposeful action in their retirement. Okay. When they end up then bored, they end up not participating, which is what boredom is. Boredom is taking the 50,000-foot view and not being engaged in the action and therefore not excited by the experiences they're having.
kind of sitting on the sidelines,
Hmm.
watching life go by. That
Exactly.
makes that causes anxiety and depression in people.
It definitely can. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely can.
So, you know, you've you've been doing this work for many years. Could you share a success story or two with us of the people you've worked with, if it seems appropriate?
Oh, yes. Um, I, as I said earlier, a lot of times people come to me because they're just unhappy with what's going on in their lives. And so getting to the bottom of what that is can be really life transforming. I have worked with clients already that come into my office. There was one woman that I'm thinking of, and specifically, and she was having trouble as her daughter became 3 years old. She was having trouble driving and had no clue why. So we're working, and I also used hypnosis with her, but I used some other techniques as well. And she remembered that when she was 3, she was in a rollover accident in which, yeah, in which all of her family was involved, and had totally forgotten it. So as she reported, then as the memories were coming back for her, as she reported, her family never talked about it. So it was like this elephant in the room that everyone had been majorly impacted by, and she didn't even have recall. So now the memories came in, of course, and we got a chance to work with them. And we got a chance to work with her, increasing her comfort driving herself, and that she could be safe and her kids could be safe. And she didn't have to duplicate that experience again. And we worked with that confidence and that ability that she already had to let the past go. What happens with trauma is that the limbic system, specifically the amygdala, starts cycling the information. And it just sits there and brings it up, and the person feels more traumatized and more traumatized and more traumatized. And often what they do is they either have their breathing go shallow or they hold their breath. And the problem with not breathing fully in that experience is that it keeps it trapped in the limbic system in the amygdala. And therefore, they're just re-experiencing the trauma that they had. In terms of psychology, we call it getting re-traumatized.
Yeah.
Whereas, while what the person is recalling the situation, if they continue breathing deeply, it allows that information to go to higher levels in their brain. And those higher levels, the thalamus levels, is where things get processed. So they're actually able to start processing what occurred and coming up with new solutions and new confidences themselves. And that's what she was able to do. So she became confident that when she left home, she was coming back safely every time. She became confident that her kids or anyone driving with her were going to be safe. And so she was able then to resolve that, something she hadn't even realized was going on. She just had this confusion about, why am I having so much trouble?
Yeah, that is so interesting because the person is getting triggered by something and that they're not even aware that they're being triggered and that they're
Exactly.
either having panic attacks or whatever. And that is such an important way to help people get in touch with issues like that, especially people who are anxious all the time. That's fascinating.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And I've also worked with people that came to me to stop smoking.
Hmm.
And hypnosis is amazingly effective to help people stop smoking. But what I find people do is they come in and they've heard that stopping smoking is harder than stopping heroin. And all of those beliefs, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, all of those beliefs, they're telling their subconscious mind. So they're coming in certain that they can't do it,
Yeah.
certain they can't possibly be successful. Okay. And then they say to me, I've tried before, nothing's worked. Okay. So I asked them, when you tried before, what did you believe would happen? Well, I believe that it would be a real struggle and then I'd go back to smoking anyway. I said, well, not a big surprise that that's what you experienced.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You've told your subconscious mind what the results would be.
Exactly. So
Yeah, that's
then we work with I choose not to and what they do when they get an urge and starting to create the image of themselves as a non-smoker. Because when they hold the image of themselves as a non-smoker, they become a non-smoker.
yeah.
And so when I've worked with people, I've had 92.5% success rate. I teach my clients self-hypnosis, but 92.5%, what was curious to me was what made up the other 7.5%. So for the people that it didn't work for, why was that?
Hmm.
And um, my follow-up time was a year. I just ran out of time to keep contacting people. But the 7.5%, were the ones I was really interested in. And it turned out they were people who didn't stop smoking for themselves. They
Uh,
were wanting to please a girlfriend. They were wanting to please their husband. They had some other reason that they were stopping and they hadn't really committed to it themselves.
yeah.
Okay. And that just made so much sense. So then we went back to, do you want to commit to this yourself? Uh, the folks that never wanted to stop in the first place said no. The ones that really wanted it out of their lives said, yeah, let's work on doing that.
Yeah.
And so we did.
That's fascinating. One of the things, I'm not a hypnotist or a psychologist, but I've been around long enough that I've picked up a few tools. But
Good.
people who are not happy with their body image or they're overweight, I've been trying to encourage them, just see yourself as your true self. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, see yourself as the beautiful, thinner person, and,
Right.
and don't focus in on the fact that you can't lose weight. You know, every
Mhm.
time I hear somebody say, I can't do it, or
Right.
it didn't work, or nothing helps,
Right.
well, I know we've got a mind issue here, a mental, emotional issue that needs to get worked with. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I think this is just wonderful information for people. And let me see if there's any comments. And as I said, Tom is not here today, and I'm kind of lost without him. I
Mhm.
don't think I can actually put these. I can't. I'm going to. I'm going to put how to get in touch with Dr. Shiple on the comments, but um, yeah, if I try to say it out loud, people are not going to get it, but I will put it in. And you are available if anybody wants to check in with you for an appointment, even though they're not there with you. Is that correct?
Yes, I meet clients by telephone appointments or video conference. And when I do that, because of being out of state, we do it in the modality of life coaching. So
Okay.
I do life coaching all around the world.
Hmm. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, and that's what you are, a life coach,
That
and
is
you're a wonderful human being. And I'm so grateful that you could take a few moments out of your busy day to share some of your insights with us. And I
oh,
thank you so much. Okay, is there any?
I thank you. This was very much fun.
Yeah, is there anything you'd like to say to the world right now?
Yes, keep your thoughts positive. Your subconscious mind's creating them, so whatever you tell yourself, self-fulfilling prophecy, it's working. So keep your thoughts on track of what do I want to accomplish? What do I want to see in my life? And focus on those thoughts rather than telling yourself negative things. Just exactly what Dr. Bedinghaus said. Okay, your
Yeah,
subconscious mind's going to make it happen. So
that's
give
right.
it a chance to create the life that you want. As was mentioned, it's your life. Okay, you write the script, and then once you have that plan in place, you act to create it.
Absolutely. And when you focus on that and not the negative, then things begin to happen. So,
Exactly. Sky's the limit.
yeah.
Mhm.
Marlene, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I will see you on the other side. And thanks, everybody, for being with us today.
Yes, and thank you all as well.